Loan officers, listen to me real quick. You know, the for sale by owner market that's out there can be extremely lucrative for you as a loan originator. You can get the seller's deals on the homes that they're buying. Listing Booster has a complete soup to nuts marketing system for sale by owners for loan originators. It's really cool. Not only that, but you'll be able to get buyer leads over to your referral partners, your realtor partners. So check it out if you got the time. Click the banner you see right here over on your right, or look straight down below. You'll see the banner there as well, or on whatever social site you're watching. There's a link around here somewhere. For sale by owner system for loan officers at Listing Booster.
So me and Frank are just getting our feet underneath us, so we want to take a retrospective look at the mortgage and housing market to see if there's any trends that might affect the coming year and years ahead of us.
First, home ownership equity since 1990. Now, to me, this looks unhealthy. Our spikes and valleys seemed too pronounced. It's as if we go crazy for housing, then quit like a jilted lover. Our concern is that, one, we now have higher values than the last massive spike, and we all remember what happened then. So yes, the loans are better, but could there be other variables that could send our overheated market spiraling out of control? Like unchecked fintech companies? You know, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but from looking at this graph, if you project out, which way do you see our equity going?
Home ownership rates since 1984. Now, this one is amazing how much home ownership is off. Our rate is as low as it's been in the past 37 years. Now, what you have to understand is, one, the GSEs, government-sponsored enterprises, sold off homes in bulk in 2009 to investors, making us a land of renters. But two, and this one really trips me out, back in 1984, when we had these low home ownership rates, you only had a handful of loans, and all of our underwriting guidelines were vastly more strict back then than now. You would never get a loan with a back-end ratio over 42. And 42 as a back-end ratio is what you would get with 3 compensating factors on a manual underwrite, meaning it was far from a layup to get that loan approved. So with significantly looser guidelines that we have right now and more products, shouldn't we have higher home ownership rates? Seems so to me. Then why not? Well, lower new construction and higher prices puts aspiring homeowners on the outside looking in. This explains Frank's graph as well with historically high equity and my graph on historic low home ownership rates.
How about originations by institution? 51% are done by non-banks. It's massive. 40% are originated by banks. Credit unions come in at 9%. Now, what we'd like to see is how much of that biz is by mortgage brokers. Today, there seems to be a trend of loan officers going from banking to brokering platforms. Why? Pricing, products, and some still going 1099 over W-2. The question is, will this model change in 2020 or beyond? Right now, W-2 non-banks rule the day, but if we get a change in the Senate and executive branch, it seems likely that we'll get a new director at the CFPB, one that'll resemble the corduroy years, when the agency seemed to prefer W-2 lenders. That change on an executive level would try to send more business back to traditional banks as they're deemed by them to be safer, which is funny when you consider how often companies like Wells Fargo and Chase have been sued for not doing right by their customers.
Credit scores on originations since March of 1999. Now, isn't this interesting? We really haven't come far off our elevated standards set after the crash of 2008. We're still writing loans to folks in bulk who have credit scores in the high 7s on average. We're doing this in spite of the fact that we now have a whole host of non-QM buyers. What does this tell me? Non-QM is writing high LTV loans or alt-doc loans that Fannie and Freddie can't or simply won't do. Now, the main takeaway from this is that non-QM is going to be a huge player in 2020 and beyond.
Our record high prices and still huge demand, along with the QM patch going away, is going to push more originations down the non-QM path. Period. It's also worth mentioning that as we speak, getting the GSEs out of conservatorship is quickly being pushed down the road. In fact, FHFA Director Mark Calabria just came out and said Fannie and Freddie might initially operate under a consent decree, which would effectively take them out of conservatorship and quickly wipe out your QM patch, meaning you better have a plan in place to keep your production at its current level. And trust me, your competition has already taken the appropriate actions, and they'd be more than happy to do all those loans that you can't do. So get in touch with Oak Tree Funding. Their banner's right here on the website to get your non-QM business intact. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's show. Do us a favor, forward it, share it, subscribe for free in your upper right-hand corner. Click the Facebook button, start a conversation, all that kind of great stuff. We love hearing from you guys. You have a great one. We'll catch you later here at the National Real Estate Post. Bye.
CC on the track, boy.